As Africa's leading defense news portal, DefenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defense, the South African National Defense Force, and the defense industry. Hi folks, welcome to the past week in defense. In this week's edition on the continent, the Nigerian Air Force continues to refurbish and expand its fleet, including with armed UAVs, while the Nigerian Navy receives new vessels. Sudan receives a Russian training vessel, and the Sierra Leone Armed Forces take delivery of 4 patrol boats. In SANDF news, Cape Corps soldiers cry foul on integration, database cleanup and consequence management coming at Military Veterans Department, and this year's War College graduation goes virtual. In industry news, Denel Aeronautics refocuses. Rheinmetall Denel Munition is part of a Dutch ammunition contract. Denel's Hoefyster contract is a disaster according to Judge Raymond Zondo. There is a possible investor for Denel PMP as the Department of Defense mulls small arms production, and AMD paints a grim picture of the South African defense industry. In African defense news, Nigerian Air Force getting Loong CH-3 and CH-4 UAVs. The Nigerian Air Force has revealed which models of armed unmanned aerial vehicle or UAV it will soon be receiving from China. It will receive 8 Loong 2, CH-4 and CH-3 aircraft. This was revealed by the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, on the 9th of November while on an operational visit to the NAF base Makurdi to assess the ongoing reactivation work on F-7 jets. Abubakar said the NAF would be getting 2 Loong 2, 4 CH-4 and 2 CH-3 aircraft, which would help enhance the NAF's intelligence gathering for air operation. 4 of the aircraft will be deployed in Gusau, 2 in Gombe, and the remaining 2 at Operation Lafia Dole headquarters in Maiduguri. This comes as the Nigerian Air Force continues to carry out life extension and periodic depot maintenance on its aircraft fleet as it improves serviceability across the board. Abubakar, during a visit to Kanji Air Base on the 3rd of November, applauded the level of work on the in-country periodic depot maintenance on 2 Alpha Jet aircraft. He noted that the significant feature about the Alpha Jet periodic depot maintenance was the fact that it had been done in Nigeria. Abubakar highlighted that the Air Force had similarly conducted successful periodic depot maintenance on 2 C-130H aircraft NAF 913 and 917 in Lagos and was on the verge of commencing the in-country periodic depot maintenance on a 3rd C-130H aircraft. Abubakar noted that the NAF have, in the same vein, carried out life extension programs on 3 L-39ZAs in Kano and would soon commence in-country life extension programs on another batch of 3 L-39ZAs. French shipyard Ocea delivers first C-Falcon interceptor to Nigerian Navy. Ocea has announced that the first of 4 C-Falcon interceptors has been delivered to the Nigerian Navy after sea trials were conducted. The other vessels will be delivered shortly. The C-Falcon is 14.6 meters long and 3.6 meters wide and can reach a top speed of 45 to 55 knots with the range of 260 miles at 25 knots. It has a crew of 4. According to Mer-Et Marine, Nigeria's vessels will be 17 meters long and equipped with 2 hydrojets. They will be able to carry 16 commandos under the bridge. A ramp at the front will allow for breech landings. The Nigerian Navy is also receiving the FPB 110 patrol vessel NNS Sokoto from Ocea. The NNS Sokoto and the C-Falcon were shipped from France in late October. 4 additional vessels will also leave the Ocea shipyard in early December for delivery to Nigeria. Sudan receives Russian training vessels. Sudan's Navy has taken delivery of a training vessel donated by Russia as part of bilateral military cooperation between the two countries. The vessel arrived in the 2nd week of October, according to the Sudan News Agency. It was officially received at the Port Sudan Naval Base in the presence of a Russian delegation and Sudanese officials. The donated vessel appears to be a Project UK-3 Petrushka class vessel built in Gdansk, Poland in 1989. It has a total displacement of 350 tons and a length of 39.27 meters and accommodates 13 crew members and 28 cadets and instructors. Sudan and Russia signed several military cooperation agreements related to training, knowledge exchange, and ship visits during a trip by former President Omar al-Bashir to Moscow in 2017. In May 2019, Sudan and Russia signed an agreement to allow Russian warships access to Sudan's ports. In mid-November, Russian President Vladimir Putin approved the creation of a Russian naval facility in Sudan capable of mooring nuclear-powered surface vessels, clearing the way for Moscow's first sustainable military foothold in Africa since the Soviet fall. The new facility, earmarked to be built in the vicinity of Port Sudan, will be capable of accommodating up to 300 military and civilian personnel and improve Russia's ability to operate in the Indian Ocean, expanding its influence in Africa. Sierra Leone Armed Forces takes delivery of 4 patrol boats. The Sierra Leone Defence Force Maritime Wing has taken delivery of 4 patrol boats that were donated by the government of South Korea. The 4 patrol boats were commissioned into service in a ceremony held at Naval Headquarters at White Man's Bay in the capital Freetown on the 22nd of October. The commissioning was attended by President Julius Mababayo, Defence Forces chiefs, and the South Korean ambassador. Chief of Defence Staff General Salih Ibrahim Sese said the new patrol boats will boost the operational reach and capabilities of the Maritime Wing. He said presently the wing is hamstrung by a lack of proper training, financial resources and platforms. And in SANDF news, Cape Corps soldiers cry foul on integration. More than a quarter of a century into South Africa's democratic era, and some groups still maintain they are not included in the country's military structures, specifically the National Defence Force and the Department of Military Veterans. The Khoisan Nation Self-Defense Unit, KNSDU, and the SA Cape Corps Military Veterans Association, SACC-MVA, in early November presented reasons for their inclusion to Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans, or PCDMV. In its presentation, the KNSDU indicated the disbanding of what was the SA Coloured Corps, SACC, in 1992 meant many current KNSDU members could not integrate into what was to become the SA National Defence Force in 1994. They also received no assistance as far as reskilling or being offered alternative employment was concerned. Fast forward 10 years, and the KNSDU applied to be integrated, going as far as the Public Protector, only to lose in court. The unit then drafted what it terms the Khoisan Soldiers Integration Bill in 2018 as a means to recognition and hopefully inclusion as part of the SANDF. In closing, the KNSDU pleaded for itself and other 7 forces that now constitute the National Defence Force for either enabling legislation or amending its bill to include the unit and have its personnel enjoy equal opportunities and benefits. In its presentation to the PCDMV, SACC-MVA pointed out it is the officially recognized military veterans association representing former SACC combatants. It also indicated little official engagement and progress in the 2 years since the association was officially recognized. There has been no notice in the Government Gazette, and its best efforts to set up institutional framework with the Department of Military Veterans failed. Database cleanup and consequence management coming at Military Veterans Department. The Department of Military Veterans will have parliamentary oversight, keeping a close watch on it as it cleans the military veterans database, long a source of concern among associations and organizations representing the interests of old soldiers. According to a Parliamentary Communications Services statement, the Joint Standing Committee on Defence at its meeting on the 12th of November welcomed progress made by the DMV in cleaning the military veterans database, and it will be held to account on its 3-month commitment to complete the work. The committee said cleaning the database is critical in the context of shrinking resources even before they are diverted to servicing an extended unverified database. We acknowledge the work the department has done so far, albeit sluggishly, to cleanse the database. We give the Department of Military Veterans a further 3 months and hope to receive a report on the conclusion of the process, Cyril Ngaba, committee co-chair, said in a statement. The Department of Military Veterans called in the assistance of the Department of Home Affairs to validate the South African citizenship of those on its database, which Ngaba said was a welcome development to ensure a qualitative and credible end product. War College graduation. The annual graduation ceremony of the SA War College, as with many other educational recognition efforts this year, was a virtual one. All 81 officers enrolled for the 2019-2020 Joint Senior Command and Staff Program successfully completed it. By far the majority of students, 72, in class were SA National Defence Force officers, with the remaining 9 referred to as International Fellows. Awards went to Lieutenant Colonel Al Naidu, Best Commandant Research Paper by an SA Army officer, with other officers' awards going to Lieutenant Colonel Atancha, SA Air Force, Commander R.P. Stradom, SA Navy, Lieutenant Colonel M.C. Hlaha Soane, SA Military Health Service, and Major Mtli from Tanzania for the Best International Fellow. The Best Overall Commandant Research Paper achiever was Lieutenant Colonel C.N. Ndlovu of SA Military Health Service. In company news, Denel Aeronautics refocuses. Since the implementation of Denel's turnaround strategy and the exit of Denel's aerostructures business, Denel Aeronautics has become a leaner and more focused company with maintenance, repair and overhaul (MRO) and system systems integration now its core capabilities. In 2017, Denel Aviation and Denel Aerostructures merged to become Denel Aeronautics. As part of the company's turnaround strategy, Denel in 2019 was given approval to exit the Aerostructures business as it was no longer sustainable. In 2019, Denel said exiting the Airbus A400M Atlas Aerostructures contract would save up to 250 million rand a year. The company had already lost its winglet contract with an American-based light business jet manufacturer and the supply of pylons for the Airbus A350 due to the group's liquidity crisis. According to Denel Aeronautics CEO Mark Gobe, the consolidation of aerostructures and aviation had resulted in significant savings, as instead of having two management structures on two of everything, the new business is smaller and leaner and takes up less physical space, reducing overheads. Over the next year, Gobe wants to ensure the company's footprint is optimized to a sustainable level. Gobe told DefenseWeb that the decision to exit the aerostructures business has made sense even before COVID-19, as aerostructures sat with overcapacity and were struggling to compete with competitors closer to the main client, or who could do the work more cheaply, or who were buying aircraft from the client. Denel is currently in the final stages of winding up the aerostructures business, although Denel Aerostructures still exists as a legal entity. The exit process unfortunately resulted in job losses, with some 177 jobs cut, but this is fewer than the 230 positions initially estimated, as some staff were able to be redeployed to other Denel divisions. Denel Aeronautics has been right-sized to be an aircraft MRO and systems integrator, primarily supporting the Roy Falk and RX helicopters, as well as C-130 Hercules transport aircraft. The company is also an accredited MRO center for Airbus helicopters models, including the Puma and Super Puma. In 2017, Denel was cleared to acquire Turbomeca Africa, and this has seen it retain engine MRO capabilities, which are geared towards supporting the South African Air Force's RX, Roy Falk, and A109 aircraft. One project that is moving steadily is the sale of 12 ex-SA Air Force Cheetah jets to Draken International in the United States, which will use them for adversary training on behalf of the US Air Force. Rheinmetall Denel Munition, part of Dutch ammunition contract. Rheinmetall Denel Munition (RDM) is part of a massive ammunition framework agreement between Rheinmetall and the Dutch Armed Forces, which could be worth up to 500 million euros. Germany's Rheinmetall in late September announced that it had renewed and expanded the long-existing framework agreement with the Dutch procurement agency Defence Material Organization for the supply of various types of ammunition for a period of at least 10 years. The framework agreement envisages annual call-offs of around 50 million euros, meaning that total volume could come to 500 million euros. The customer is already preparing for the first call-offs, Rheinmetall said. The framework agreement encompasses the supply of 35mm medium caliber ammunition for infantry fighting vehicles, 40mm rosy smoke/obscurant cartridges, and a family of state-of-the-art 155mm artillery ammunition. Rheinmetall Denel Munition would supply its Ocea 155mm range. Denel Hoefyster contract, a disaster, Judge Raymond Zondo. When told of ongoing delays in the manufacture and delivery of new infantry combat vehicles for the SA Army, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo used words including unthinkable, unacceptable, adding it was simply a disaster. The responses from the man at the helm of the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture followed testimony by Sipho Mkhwananzi, Arms Corps Acting Group Executive responsible acquisition and supply chain management. After hearing what can best be called a litany of errors around Project Hoefyster, which would see more than 200 new Badger infantry combat vehicles in a number of variants replace aging Rattels, Zondo said it was a disaster, no different to the much talked about digital migration, about which little is being done. These delays reflect nothing but a disaster. It is completely unacceptable, Zondo said. Possible investor for PMP as Department of Defense mulls small arms production. Denel PMP may be getting an investor as the struggling firm takes steps to stay afloat, according to Secretary for Defense Sonto Kujo. Kujo was speaking during a Joint Standing Committee on Defense JSCD meeting on the 5th of November. In her presentation, she revealed a company comprising Black South Africans and a military veteran is willing to invest in PMP, and the Denel Group CEO has been made aware of this. However, nothing has been finalized, and the Denel board and government stakeholder still need to inform PMP on the details of the possible investment going forward. PMP remains open to possible investors. Kujo also revealed that a concerted effort is being made to support the local production of certain military hardware, including small caliber weapons and ammunition. This would be done on a large scale for different users, including the SANDF, SAPS, Metros, Border Management Agency, and Intelligence Services. AMD paints grim picture of SA defense industry. Industry Association AMD has painted a bleak portrait of the South African defence industry as exports, research and development and employee numbers decline, but the association believes problems can be fixed through interventions such as streamlining export processes. In a presentation to the Joint Standing Committee on Defence at the beginning of November, Sandile Ndlovu, Executive Director of AMD and CEO of the AMD Export Council, SAAMDEC, outlined the local industry has been declining over the last 5 years. SAAMDEC's presentation stated that industry revenue declined from 19.5 billion rand in 2016/17 to 12.5 billion rand in 2019/20. Exports declined by half from 12 billion rand to 6.5 billion rand, and research and development spend dropped from 1.7 billion rand to 500 million. The number of people employed in the defense industry has also dropped, going from 15,000 in 2016 to 12,500 in 2019. For comparison, revenue stood at 31 billion rand in 1990, when 6.1 billion rand was spent on research and development and the industry employed 1,300,000 people. When 6.1 billion rand was spent on research and development and the industry employed 130,000 people. 30 years ago, there were some 3,000 companies active in the South African defense industry. That stands at about 120 today. Defense acquisitions have also declined, going from 26.2 billion rand in 1990 to 11 billion rand in 2018/19. However, exports grew from 873 million rand in the mid-1990s to 6.5 billion rand in 2019/20. And Ndlovu pointed out that exports have been declining since 2016/17, which is a concern as the industry is reliant on exports to survive. The shrinking South African defense budget is in large part to blame, as well as onerous export procedures. SAAMDEC believes the industry can thrive if it received direct, deliberate, focused, and high-level political support, stable and predictable local defense spending, including R&D, a stable and sustainable Denel, an effective arms control regime to facilitate arms export, and suitable financing and related instruments. SAAMDEC suggested a number of solutions to the industry's challenges, including state support for defense sales. Other fixes include brand reputation management, engagement with the presidency on the implications and image of the country, and improved export processes. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the podcast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week.